Hi folks, Buffin here. Welcome back to Newslation, the news show where I translate things in the news like Trump and Putin trying to destroy or take over the world to things that Americans can care about, like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. Now, there are certain relationships here, but the main thing I want to say is that if we put as much attention to Trump and Putin and their plans to destroy America, destroy the world, or enslave us all, as we put into is the same amount of attention as we put into the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, we would actually end fascism. So we could do that. Now, I don't want to suggest that this is all a charade or that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are doing this as actors to distract us from what Putin and Trump are doing. But I do want to say that the social media platforms, and we're somewhat guilty of this for participating, are doing that. They're doing that on behalf of Trump and Putin, which most of what the social media platforms do is on behalf of Trump and Putin. See how they promote right-wing stuff and suppress left-wing stuff. But I don't think that it goes to the extent of this is all a charade. Although it gets pretty comical sometimes how they couldn't have acted it. If they written the script to act it, they couldn't have written one better than to make the defense look terrible and Johnny Depp's side look good. I'm not sure if they are to the defense. I don't really know what this trial is about. But I do know that from what I saw, it's really hard to think that it's that there's any truth on the side of Amber Heard and her defense team, at least from, I haven't seen anything she said, but I've seen what her lawyers have said and the constant making fun of them. And rightfully so, because they seem really terrible. The thing is, I do want to say in her defense, because you won't see too many videos on YouTube about that, but that's one of the main reasons I want to say it. Because there's such a preponderance of videos and the consensus is against Amber Heard, it makes you think, well, maybe there's something to the same people, again, who promote evil things for Trump and Putin, can mislead people. However, you start to see people's lives, and in general, you want to believe a victim or you want to believe women, since women are often not believed. You want to try to as much as you possibly can, but you don't know who the victim is in this situation. And as you find out, it becomes, well, who's telling the truth and who's telling lies? And all we see are many, many lies out of this Amber Heard side of the story, out of her lawyers, and just incompetence and bad tactics and everything. And that also reminds you of Putin and his Russian army invading, being incompetent and having bad tactics and just getting a lot of their soldiers and generals killed. And Trump, although is successful with the aid of these social media companies, his attempted coups, his continued attempted coup, it's successful at misleading a lot of people. The people that it inspires to action are still few, thankfully, and incompetent, but it's plenty dangerous still, even though they're a bunch of losers. It's not benign. It's not safe. So we need to know who's lying and who's telling the truth. And it turns out when somebody continues to tell lies, like they lied about James Franco living in their building. James Franco didn't live in their building, thanks to one of the neighbors who did live in the building, Amy Goodhart, who was on one of the shows I've seen related to this, and very beautiful, I should add, that James Franco, when he thinks he's doing something good, when he's on a movie, he always looks at the camera, like he, winking at you. He didn't look at the camera this time, so he knew he was up to something shady. But they lied about that. They lied about the compact. They lied about the makeup or whatever. They lied about everything that I've seen them say, and just the way they try to badger the witnesses to get something that's not true out of witnesses who very much appear to be telling the truth and know what they're talking about is very Putin-esque. It's very Trump-esque. It's very Trump-Putineer. Now, again, they're not doing this for Trump, but the idea that the social media companies are promoting this trial and we're all lapping it up and buying into it, and the trolls are maybe promoting it and stuff too, or to distract us, is going to backfire on them because we learn so much about gaslighting and lies and how to learn who to believe that we're going to see through Putin and Trump's lies with the skills that we gain from watching the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. So, even if that's the only connection, There is a connection there. There's a lot of lies being told, and somebody who lies at some point can only lie, and their lies will backfire, of course, be exposed. Lies will all ultimately be exposed, but they'll contradict each other. So even in this case, if this is a distraction tactic to keep us all from learning more about Trump's crimes in America and Putin promoting those crimes, and vice versa, Trump promoting Putin's crimes, and being critical of that and taking down that evil network here in America, we're distracted, and yet we're all exercising our awareness that, judgment needs to be made. We need to be able to tell truth from lies. Now, we're not going to have any influence on the judge, but we do seem to have the opinion. The judge seems to be, an impartial person who's going to judge fairly. Our opinion is not going to influence the judge in this case. But our opinions and the way we express them do influence, the reputations and careers of these actors. If we express the same types of opinions, we might not be able to convince some general or whoever else to overthrow Putin. We might not be able to convince Joe Biden to arrest Trump, although it's his job to protect the country from threats, foreign and domestic, and Trump is both as Putin's puppet, which he called him to his face and in front of 50 million people. But we might not be able to influence him to do that, but we will influence what everyone talks about if we talk about what's really going on. And what's really going on is a fascist takeover of America and the world, orchestrated by Putin, through Trump, through Facebook and Twitter, and now Elon Musk, put Trump back on. And we can see it coming, but if we talk about it enough, we can actually stop it, even if the platforms are trying to prevent our speech from connecting and allow their speech to flourish. At some point, even that's going to backfire on them, as you can see in the case of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, where you can ultimately see who's lying because they lie about everything and who's telling the truth, because even if they're faking, like they're disgust at the poop or something. I'm not German or anything, but come on, that's not such a big deal. Somebody was going to clean that up anyway and had to eventually clean it up. Well, act like that prevented you from getting your stuff. But that was the first thing I saw that made me doubt. But hey, you can doubt and then learn